Girl, take more over here. I don't know how to act. You're not liable. Tabby.
Hello, we're
Hi.
live. We're live with Marty and Tavi. I'm just gonna, for the sake of just a sound check and a visual check. Marty, can you see me? Okay.
Uh, yes, I think you're frozen.
I'm frozen. How
Yeah,
about now? Am
you're
I okay
frozen.
now?
I
All right.
see you, but you're frozen.
All right. Just talk, and then we'll see what's going on. If whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Okay.
All right. So, obviously, this is the show about Juneteenth. Today was Juneteenth. A lot of people have celebrated and probably are still celebrating right now. Um, the African American Independence Day, and want to really highlight one of the great women that have been working for decades to see this day come to pass. So, um, all right, so I was just about to let Morty take it from there. We're having some technical difficulties tonight, like we were having before. We're not sure what it is, um, but we've already agreed that if we drop off, then we'll come back on. So sorry about that. But one of the ladies that we're highlighting tonight is Opal Lee. And Opal Lee, hold on, Marty's coming back in. All right, welcome back. So you haven't missed anything. I was just on the port talking about Opal Lee and just talking about her work and how long she's worked on this to see this day come forward. So if you want to go ahead and take it from there, I think that'll be a good starting point.
Yes. Actually, I think I just learned about her on yesterday. Miss Opal Lee, and I am intrigued by her because she's a retired teacher. And, they say Black teachers matter, Black teachers rock. They have all these wonderful sayings about Black teachers. And here we are paying homage to this 94-year-old African American woman who refused to stop stepping for our history to be acknowledged. And I just found her so amazing, and the spark that this woman had is really just mind blowing, and it speaks to the need of Black teachers teaching our Black kids. And with uh, this should be on the table for Black parents, because we see now that it's always the disregard and disrespect of Black women who are the most intuitive people. And this should be our wake up call right here. This woman right here. So yeah, I
Mm-mm-mm. All right, this is really getting ready to make me mad because we really have a great dialogue tonight, and I'm not understanding why tonight is a night of technical issues, but we are so filled with things. So I guess I'll go ahead and continue to talk until she rejoins us. But she just said a mouthful there. This lady has definitely showed her endurance by sticking to it. Honestly, I've been probably celebrating Juneteenth 26 years of my 42 years of life.
yes.
Yeah, and so I was just sharing with everyone about my personal experience as it relates to Juneteenth, and just talking about Miss Opal Lee endurance for her to continue on to see this thing come into fruition, to become a national holiday. And I was
Exactly.
saying, I'm 42 years old, and I can attest for celebrating Juneteenth for at least 26 years of my life.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
so it's not anything new to me, but I do know that people in my age group, it's very new to them, and that it hasn't been a sense of normalcy of practice to celebrate this holiday and even understand the history behind it.
Well,
So,
for me, it was me getting involved in the movement that I learned about Juneteenth. I didn't know about it prior to joining the Black Lives Matter movement.
oh
So
wow, so within the last 7 years or so.
exactly. So it's a lot of history that I just did not know. So when I learned, of course, I'm excited, and being the teacher that I am, I think if our kids know, it changed the trajectory of our people. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So yeah, when I learned it, I'm like, I was
Hmm.
floored. But to think that, I was a pretty good student in our school district and everything, but that right there, I guess, slipped past the curriculum.
Right, and I didn't really realize how, and only reason I had that exposure is because of my connection with the Catherine Dunham children's workshop, the museum with the family, um, and being able to participate in different things and be exposed to our history and culture through the various events and different things that Catherine Dunham has portrayed over the years, and been up front and center, being able to participate. So, although I've had that experience, I really, I guess, in a sense, kind of took it for granted because not everyone has had it, and I was thinking that that would be, or that was the normalcy of everyone, be able to engage in the culture like that and understand about Juneteenth. So I did realize that my timeline on Facebook, I don't think on any Juneteenth I've ever just had so many people on my timeline celebrating it. So it was definitely a wonderful thing to see today that so many people are now celebrating the holiday, that they've been given the official okay that this holiday can be celebrated. Hopefully, Marshala isn't too aggravated and she continues to join us like she's done before in the past, until we figure out what this actual connection issue is. Normally, she'll be back by now. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue. I really don't like to talk when she's not on here because this is the Marty and Tavi show, so I try to give it some time so that we can have our dialogue. But she still hasn't joined, so it's unfair to you guys to just sit and not say anything. Um, so I'll go ahead and continue. So we have Juneteenth, which happened like 2.5 years beyond Emancipation Proclamation, nearly almost 3 years. People say 2 years. I'm always telling people over 2.5 years, but it was about 2 to 3 months shy of 3 years, and that's really sad. So I was just
Exactly.
sharing with, yeah, you hear?
Go ahead. Uh-huh.
I was sharing with them about Juneteenth and the time frame between Emancipation Proclamation and
Uh-huh.
Juneteenth, and some people say 2 years, but it was almost 3 years. It was like about 2 or 3 months shy of it being 3 years that the people down in Galveston, Texas, was not informed that they were free.
Right.
And then we need to go and zone in and into that order. Now I don't know if you ever got a chance to read the general order. So although the general order freed them, it also gave some stipulations and some recommendations. Did you know that?
No, I did not know.
Okay, and so the stipulations and recommendations, and I just lost her again, but I'm gonna try to pull it up on my phone real quick, and you guys will. So basically, just to paraphrase until I find exact words, it was basically saying that it was best that people go ahead and remain where they were and just stay there to work for a salary. And that's how we got so many sharecroppers and stuff like that, which we, if you understand the role of the sharecroppers, you'll also understand that them sharecroppers wasn't treated fairly and wasn't given the wages that they rightfully deserve. So here's the order. So remember, the official handwritten record of General Order Number 3 is preserved in the National Archives in Washington, D.C. The National Archives safeguards many of the nation's most important records related to African American history and civil rights. And General Order Number 3 is one of those records, said Archivist of the United States David S. Ferriero. We know from history that certain events took place, and it's always delight when we can help make history come alive by sharing the actual documentation of those events. All right, so here's what the actual General Order Number 3 states. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all all slaves are free. All right. But it goes on further to say this involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection here to for existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. Hear that again. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present home and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will not be supported um,
Ooh.
in idleness either there or elsewhere. So I was reading the general order, and the general order states to the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. It goes on to say this involves the absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. All right, and the
Okay.
connection here to existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. All right, I really wanted her to comment on that. That's why I read it again. So I think she'll be back and she can probably comment. I'm not sure what's going on with the connection tonight. Um, I really wanted to do this show. This is something me and her both are very passionate about. I pray that they don't keep that this internet connection does not keep dropping you, because this is a very important conversation we need to have tonight. So I hopefully you heard the part of the general order that I read where they were stating that basically stay where you at and they're gonna pay you some wage. And I think that is what really opened up to the sharecropping disenfranchised that people had to endure during that time where they wasn't getting their first share of that. So they were real and it goes into what we call neo slavery, a term that a lot of people uh are not familiar with, but
Uh-huh.
definitely when you explain to them what it is, they can definitely agree to and say, okay, then that's what happened, because um basically people were free to famine. You know, MLK have said that, we were
Uh-huh.
given freedom, but freedom to famine. No check came with it. The check is still coming up insufficient.
Right.
And then we just talk about all the different conditions. We talk about the civil rights that you and I know about, um, and that we heard right before we were born happen. But then there is also, remember the civil rights during 1905 when you had the W.E.B. Du Bois and the Marcus Garveys and all that. And I think people often forget that that was civil rights. So
Uh-huh.
all that to say, when you think about neo-slavery and just say we can cut it off at 1945. So from the time of Juneteenth, right, to
Right.
1945, for real, our
Okay.
people were still living in slavery, still being criminalized for things that they really didn't do, but just to be able
Right.
because you had all those amendments pop up, and then you could talk to us about those amendments. Um, they had Amendment 13, 14, and 15 to accompany things to make things better, I guess. And all right, so I was right on there about the amendments that were put in place after Emancipation Proclamation. Are you familiar with those? Huh? Oh, I'm the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Are you froze? Or you just got your head down? I think I'm losing her again. Hello? Oh God, this is just killing our show. Why? Uh, I hate to cancel this and we redo this because it's so important that we have this Juneteenth episode. Marty, you there? All right, so I lost her again. That's probably like the sixth time she's been dropped, and we've only been on her for 16 minutes. This is horrible. So, um, whew, I don't know. So, anyway, yeah, neo-slavery. I can give you the definition of that. It's basically contemporary slavery, also known as modern slavery, refers to institutional slavery that continues to occur in present day society. So, um, that's everything up until the mass incarceration in the prisons and all of that as it relates to um, American descendants of slaves that happen to be African descent. Um, so I started talking about W.E.B. Du Bois era and Marcus Garvey, and at that time was Booker T. Washington, and all of them had philosophies on how to lead the people to what we always say the prize, be able to get equality and get everybody functioning and rehabilitated from the slavery and everything else that was probably needed at that time. Um, I'm hating that Marty kicked off, and she's probably, I don't know if she's coming back on, if she's readjusting some things, but I'm gonna sit here and kind of wait for her, but continue to talk on these issues as it relates to uh, the Juneteenth, the National Freedom Day. Um, so let's talk about that. So here we are. We have a federal holiday now that we as Black people have been celebrating it as our true Independence Day, in opposed to the Independence Day that is celebrated for July 4th, 1776, Independence Day. And now we have both. All right. Yet we still have Christopher Columbus Day, which we all know that Christopher Columbus did not discover America, but we still have the holiday. I don't know if we still have the holiday because people enjoy having a holiday, or people believe from some kind of reason that that's still the history and deserves a federal holiday. I don't know, but it would be nice if they'll go ahead and get rid of the Christopher Columbus Day. We'll be able to really tell the full history. Quit doing the watered down versions of history for the sake of not hurting people's feelings. Yeah, we're gonna be uncomfortable. Feelings might be hurt, but at the same time, it's necessary for us to move forward efficiently. And I don't see Morshada joining me. I'm gonna try to see if I can get her on the phone and see if she's coming back. And if she doesn't come back, then it's a matter of just canceling the show We do appreciate anyone that have taken the time to tune in. This will just be a short show, but we'll be back. We'll be able to talk about Juneteenth and uh, Miss Opal Lee contributions to the holiday and all the others that made this day possible. But this is a day of pride. Like you know, there's an actual official federal holiday um, admitting to the slavery, not only the slavery, but beyond the slavery, beyond the Emancipation Proclamation. It just shows how cruel the American descendants of slaves who happen to be African descent have had to endure through this country. So I'm going to go ahead and log off. If we can get the connection going, we'll restore the broadcast and come back on and finish talking. But if not, this is our show. It's about 21 minutes into it. Again, you're watching the Marty and Tavi show. We're going to get a little better than this. We've been slacking. We got a lot to share, but it's a whole lot of structure that have to be put in place that we're working on getting put in place and be able to have some in-person meetings now that we're meeting again and all of that. So anyway, I'm going to sign off from here. Again, you're watching the Tavi and Marty show, Marty and Tavi show, however you want to say it. Have a great night.